Hi everyone, Coach Todd from TRU Financial Coaching with a video on a topic that pretty much every single coaching conversation I have, we get into this discussion. And that is you have some money to either put towards debt, savings, retirement, your kids' college education. How do you prioritize all of that? So I want to get into that a little bit today. So the slide on top here, I have income is greater than your expenses in giving. So you need to figure out, first of all, what are your expenses? Make sure you're the one driving the decision as to how you're going to spend your money, and that you're giving to church charities that are important to you. So assuming now that you have income that's greater than the expenses in giving, how do you prioritize that? So if you watched my video last week, I talked a bit about the emergency savings, and that would be the first bucket I would prioritize. You can see I have 6 buckets here. They're purposely in 3 different rows. The only bucket in the top row is the emergency savings fund. So watch that video to learn more about it, but this is that creating a savings in the $500 to $2,000 range, that its sole purpose is to take care of those kind of one-time expenses that pop up, usually in the hundreds of dollars, and typically take the form of a car repair, deductible on insurance, or out-of-pocket medical expenses. Being able to take care of those important things so that you don't lose transportation, or you don't have to put it onto your credit card and get charged high interest rates is important. So that's the first bucket that I would prioritize. So now that you've created that emergency savings funds for you, there's really 3 buckets now to think about. And that is your debt, not counting mortgage. This is student loans, car loans, credit card accounts that you're not paying off at the end of each month. Bridge savings, so this is more than the emergency savings amount. This is creating like 3 to 6 months worth of savings in case you lose your job. And then your retirement. So it's okay to put money into more than one of these 3 buckets at a time, but let's talk about like how do you prioritize among these 3 buckets. So first it would be determining, does your employer offer some sort of a match on your retirement? Do you ever have a 401k and they're matching? A lot of firms, you contribute up to 4% of your salary and they'll kick in dollar for dollar, or maybe up to 8%, they'll kick in 50 cents on the dollar. And what's important to know here is that is absolutely free money. I had a client recently where he was asking me to take a look at how his investment advisor has invested his IRA. It's not exactly my expertise of what I do, but I looked it over for him, just gave him a couple questions he could ask his advisor. But in course of that conversation, I realized where he works, he has a 401k, and he's not even contributing to it up to the amount that he's getting his employer match. So it really kind of created this wonderful opportunity of like, okay, you're trying to figure out how to tweak your investment returns by a couple percentage points, and yet you're not taking full advantage of like a 100% investment return by allowing your employer to match on your 401k. So if your employer has a 401k match, that is a great bucket to start contributing to. At least up until the amount that the match ends. I wouldn't contribute more than that until you've satisfied the other 2 buckets, and that is getting rid of your car loans, student loans, credit card debt, and your bridge savings, building up that 3 to 6 month savings. Keep in mind, when I'm talking about putting money towards like student loans, car loans, I'm already assuming that you're contributing to the monthly minimum amount you need to be contributing. And that's in that top row, the income is greater than the expenses and giving. So this is trying to get rid of that debt early. And the reason why it's good to get rid of it early is it's kind of like being in a boat that already has a little bit of a leak in it, right? Let's patch up that leak, get rid of it, so you don't have to think about that, and now you can just sail forward into the future towards your retirement. One way to think about these car loans, student loans, if you're getting charged like 5%, that's kind of like a negative investment return of 5%. So it's a way to kind of, if you pay that off early, it's kind of like guaranteeing an investment return of whatever that rate is, 5%, 6%, whatever it is. So it's a good thing to get rid of and get rid of that potential concern. So now you're contributing retirement up to the match of your 401k. If your employer doesn't offer any sort of a matching, I would focus on the other 2 buckets first, the debt and the bridge savings, and then get to the retirement amount. So let's say now you're satisfied, you got rid of all of your non-mortgage debt, you have 3 to 6 months of additional savings, and you're contributing to your retirement. So those buckets are all green now. That leaves the last two, and that's your kids' college education and if you have a mortgage. If you don't have a mortgage, you don't have this bucket, so now you can focus on your kids' college education. Between these two, I would probably prioritize kids' college education, but it might be okay to kind of focus a little bit on both at the same time. Now, I have some people I get in conversations with where like, well, no, I want to prioritize my kids' college education. And they're kind of doing that. So they move that bucket up into the second row, or maybe even the first row. And the reason why I don't think that's a very wise idea is that if you're trying to set your children up for success over the next 60 years, but you might only have like 20 or 30 years of good income years, and you don't contribute towards your own retirement, and you get to your 60s, you have saved almost no money for yourself, and maybe you still have some debt, like you're in a difficult financial situation, which also maybe puts yourself as a potential financial strain on your kids. So you didn't really help your kids out as much as you wanted. So I would keep that bucket in the bottom row. Absolutely get to it. Just make sure that in your budget, you're creating enough income greater than expenses and giving that you can tackle all 6 of these buckets. All right. So that's how I would prioritize it. You've got all 6 buckets green now. The key thing here is be making more than you spend and give, and prioritize appropriately. All right. Hope this was helpful.